At Sidney Pacific, the day starts early. But Sidney Pacific itself began long before any of the students moved in. In fact, the original vision for SP began back in 1986 with a survey of graduate student life at MIT. That survey revealed that a major concern among the graduate student body was the lack of affordable housing in the Cambridge area. The MIT administration recognized this issue and made it a long-term goal to create more on-campus housing options for graduate students. By the mid-1990s, however, the shortage persisted, and it became clear that a new graduate dormitory was necessary. The project stalled for years due to funding and zoning issues. But finally, in 1999, the stars aligned, and MIT gave the go-ahead to build a new graduate residence at the corner of Sidney and Pacific Streets in Cambridgeport, the site of the former Simplex Wire and Cable Company. Foreshadowing the ambitious nature of the students who will one day live here, the Sidney Pacific project was on a very aggressive schedule. Between initial design and completion of construction, the project took only 18 months. In the fall of 2002, Sidney Pacific welcomed its first residents.
To me, it's actually an accumulation of the sort of 10 years of graduate students' commitment to getting a new dormitory, right? And for me, I was just happy to be the right guy at the right time, sort of to come in, transition.
I was the original Vice President of Information for the Sidney Pacific. I was also actually on the founding committee, and I was on the Housemaster search for Sidney Pacific, so I got to pick Roger. That was kind of nice.
What was impressive to us was the degree to which the students took responsibility for organizing and developing and contributing to the building of the community. That was true from day minus 6 months. And I think that's been the characteristic of the place ever since.
What convinced me was that I would get to meet a lot more students from a lot more different diverse backgrounds across different departments and from very many countries, that I thought the opportunity would be well worth it, and that's what it turned out to be.
People with the ideas cared enough to make them work, and it started at SP because people are just crazy enough to think that their ideas would work.
So when I was on spec, I realized, hey, I can do what I want now, and I organized my own trick-or-treating event so that various volunteers would be open for trick-or-treating.
And also our year we had the infamous pig roasting, which was a crazy, really fun, awesome idea, and the whole thing was just nuts, but it was so much fun.
I became the environment chair, and that was the thing that I really wanted to do. And as part of that, I brought in a lot of compostable dinnerware. We tried to be as sustainable as possible in our coffee hours, as well as our brunches, and I was very happy to see that, that those efforts are still going on right now.
The House Cup is a new initiative that we started during my year on spec. Halls would compete against each other with the hope that a bit of healthy competition would foster a stronger sense of community.
I think because the student government in particular builds upon the previous student government, I think things just get more and more awesome every year, to the point where now when I look back on when I was part of spec, I think, wow, what amateurs!
While new traditions emerge every year, one constant at Sidney Pacific has been our housemasters, Roger and Dottie. And they've been joined by Keith, Brenda, Ian, and Kendall in the early years, and more recently by Annette, Roland, Joshua, and Samuel.
Take a little bit of time to sort of recognize Roger and Dottie for their commitment to what they've done here, what they've built here. And it's an enormous tribute to them, to where you guys are today, and how you've evolved this community.
It will be difficult to imagine SP without Dottie and Roger here.
Happy anniversary, Roger and Dottie.
Congratulations.
It is without a doubt that the Housemasters have contributed enormously to every aspect of life at Sidney Pacific, even if they see their roles a bit differently.
The Housemasters do not run this community at all.
One of the best things about housemastering is we get to work with an incredibly energetic and talented group of students from across the Institute.
We just feed them.
I think that food is a key element in building relationships at Sidney Pacific.
So I made a personal agenda to make sure we never ran out of food at social events.
It's true, people come for the food, but they stay for the company.
My fondest memory from Sidney Pacific goes back to actually the kitchen in the multi-purpose room. Spent a lot of time there cleaning, washing dishes, preparing food, getting everything ready for all the brunches, coffee hours, dance parties, lots of events. And spent a lot of time there and built a lot of friendships and learned a lot about how to operate dishwashers and cleaning equipment.
Use these like little rival brand hot pot things to do fondue, and then the next year, the next hall counselor, I think it was Rosaria, ordered this like chocolate fountain. You can't really beat a chocolate fountain.
The Egyptian coffee hour. That event was just absolutely crazy. Just kept feeding onto each other and doing absolutely crazy ideas until it went completely out of hand. But it never really stopped us because we were really enjoying it, and we just really we wanted it to go out of hand. We wanted it to be absolutely amazing.
In retrospect, just transporting all of this food around. I remember just constantly stealing shopping carts from Shaw's, and then they caught onto it and they made me leave my ID there until I brought them back.
The canned food drive, which I was really quite happy with. What we did is we harnessed the competitive nature of Sidney Pacific residents to really do something great for the community. We ended up bringing in more than 1,500 pounds of food, which is really a great feat.
We talked to 5 different MIT cultural groups, and we said, all right, we need to make this the most ridiculous Asian street food festival ever, and we did. I was really amazed how it all came together. I think we served somewhere on the order of 800 people that summer.
But it takes a lot to make these events happen. It takes a grand vision, support from the housemasters, the house manager, the house staff, the deans, the administration, the graduate student council, various campus organizations, and most importantly, the students. For every Sidney Pacific event, it is the responsibility of the students to apply for funding, plan, publicize, shop, set up, cut fruit, chop vegetables, grill burgers, take photos, record videos, and clean up. In fact, it is the dedication of these leaders and volunteers that sets Sidney Pacific apart from other graduate residences.
The real secret about enjoying, really what SP has to offer happens before the event. Behind the scenes, when you come 2 hours, 3 hours before everything happens, and you join this group of crazy, dedicated, friendly, welcoming team of people that are just giving their time to make the events happen. And that's really the most fun that you can have.
It was a very welcoming, very active, very almost overly in-your-face culture that wanted you to get out there and do something.
There were people who were willing to set aside time from the research or just in spite of the research. Somehow they managed to do both. Maybe sometimes a little more of one than the other. But definitely willing to make that investment that really made the community strong.
I think Sidney Pacific provided the right critical mass of residents, of graduate students in the northwest part of campus that has since made the northwest part more of an epicenter of where graduate students live and can kind of relate to as a community.
It has this great graduate community and the spirit where like everyone works together to build the community.
I think it's the people that I think make it what it is. House masters like Roger and Dottie and Roland and Annette make this place heartwarming. It makes it home.
It's not one specific big event so much as it's all the small little pieces of SP that kind of made it a more of a home than just, some sort of dorm environment.
I lived in the same house my entire life, and it was the same house where my grandfather grew up and everything. So to actually find a community and a setting that rivaled that sense of home for me was something completely unexpected and exceeded all my expectations.
SP has really provided me with a home away from home. So it was great just living here with so many friends together in the same community.
I think when you look back 40, 50 years from now, all of us will have our graduate degrees, but I think more than the work itself, you probably remember the silly memories like making giant Oreo truffles more than the hours that you spent in lab.
We welcome you alums to
Yes.
become part of our future.
Just really special people.
Right.
We're a little biased.
If you had 3,000 to 5,000 committed alumni that you could call on just by snapping your finger or sending an email, that'd be fantastic. Keep on the same trajectory.
Don't change, right?
Yeah, don't change fundamentally. I think we have to not become complacent and think that we have everything. There's always room for improvement. And that's probably the biggest thing, not to take what we have here for granted.
I'm most excited about actually meeting the future SP officers, future SP residents who are super involved, and getting to know their stories, because I think it's really, really special. Love to kind of have that shared bond.
I think SP will only get bigger and better than it is now. Not bigger in terms of the number of residents, but in terms of a sense of community, the resources, and the events being offered.
By now, we hope we don't need to convince you of all the great events to come out of Sidney Pacific over the last 10 years. But SP's impact on its residents is far more wide-reaching than that. The things you learn and the people you meet at Sidney Pacific can stick with you for a lifetime.
Practical thing I learned from being on spec is how to keep meetings short.
Learning how to work with people and learning how to harness people's strengths and just build a team and work together and get things done, I think is something that the spec experience really helped develop it.
It's amazing the types of people or the types of contacts you make who end up helping you out down the road.
I would tell all new residents, just get involved in the community because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It gave me personally friends for life.
Where do you hope to see SP in the next 10 years?
It'd be nice if Sidney Pacific actually got a pool on top of the fifth floor.
Having a rooftop jacuzzi.
On the moon.
You're looking at me.
Your turn.
Do you want me to say something?
So I keep thinking, well, yes, we're just like them until I look in the mirror and realize we're not quite that young, but we think we are.
Wait, are you filming?
Yeah. What were some of your favorite Sidney Pacific memories?
What was the record? Do you have a number on your record?
The number of pancakes? No.
Number of griddles.
Griddles. I flipped 6 griddles at once.
Beat that.
All right.
And sitting in my room trying to study whatever I was doing or sleep, and then hearing gunshots, hearing a lot of gunshots, and they kept going. And the MIT police had actually set up a training rig in a old semi truck, and that was in the parking lot where currently the new Ashdown is.
What am I supposed to say?
Talk about the Egyptian coffee.
Put my index finger under and can you see it when you do that? Okay. Under. Zooming in. Oh wow. I know.
All right, we got it.